Some motorcycles arrive shouting, and some arrive trying far too hard. And then there's the Triumph Trident 660. It rolls up with that smug little grin that says, I don't need to prove anything to you. It's a middleweight naked bike with a triple cylinder engine, which is a lovely place to start because triples have that wonderfully odd knack of sounding civilized and slightly unhinged at the same time. Now, on paper, it's not trying to win a pub argument with horsepower figures. It's not the biggest, the loudest, or the most outrageous machine in the room. But it possesses a balanced, no-nonsense charm that makes you think Triumph may have quietly built the bike that everyone else forgot to. But then, why do we not see these things everywhere? I mean, it's light, it's a mere 416 pounds full of fuel, it's playful with a near perfect trail number, it's easy to live with, it gets over 50 miles to the gallon and the valves don't need to be adjusted for 20,000 miles. It has a narrow seat that makes it exceptionally easy to get both feet to the ground. I mean, it's decidedly good looking with just enough swagger to keep things interesting. I think it's the motorcycle equivalent of a sharp suit worn by someone who can still start a bar fight. But that leads to the real question. Has Triumph made the perfect everyday roadster or just the most polished compromise in motorcycling? To find out, we have to look at how this bike came to be. And once we've done that, I'm gonna do something I have never been able to do on this channel before. In the early 1960s, Triumph had a problem. Their twin-cylinder engines were vibrating so violently that riders' teeth were frequently found in their boots. Enter Bert Hopwood and Doug Heel. These two BSA Triumph engineers decided that the answer lay not in 2 cylinders, nor in 4, but in 3. It was the Goldilocks of engines, they said. They said a triple promised the soul of a twin with the high-speed lungs of a 4. But by the time the Trident made it to the showroom floor, Honda was launching the CB650, which was polished, modern, and annoyingly good. It had 4 cylinders, disc brakes, and didn't leak oil onto your trousers. Yet the Trident was faster. It had style, speed, and a characterful engine note that sounded like it had been designed by a committee of angry poets. It was a declaration that British engineering still had a pulse, a sense of occasion, and if we're being honest, a questionable relationship with oil leaks and electronics that quit at the mere thought of moisture. While the showroom sales were respectable, the real legend came on the racetrack. Enter Slippery Sam, a name that sounds like a children's cartoon villain, but it became one of the most successful production racers of the era. It won the Isle of Man 5 times in a row. And about that name, it was earned because it once leaked so much oil that the rider was essentially surfing a 750cc oil spill. It was heroic, it was British, it was brilliant. And it was that race success that gave the Trident something priceless: credibility. Anyone can put a shiny badge on a tank. Winning at the TT 5 times in a row is how you turn a motorcycle into folklore. And by 1975, the Trident caught up with what Honda had made 8 years earlier. It finally had an electric starter, disc brakes that actually reduced speed, and the gear lever on the left side where God intended it to be. Naturally, because the bike was now brilliant, the money ran out, the lights went off, Triumph was bankrupt. But then in 1991, Triumph was dragged out of the skip and rebuilt in a shiny new factory in Hinckley. To lead a comeback, you need a flagship model to get the world's attention. They chose the Trident. It was a proper name with history, grit, and enough credibility to make the Japanese look up from their spreadsheets. It was a declaration of war. It was even painted British racing green. It was the first sign that the British weren't just back, they were about to kick the door down with a shaved head and Doc Marten boots. And then, in 2020, the Triumph Trident came back for a 3rd time. A Trident, a triple, the 3rd Trident triple, which is either glorious brand continuity or proof that someone at Triumph has become extremely attached to the number 3. Either way, it worked. It's exactly the sort of thing a motorcycle like this deserves. But probably the coolest thing about this particular Triumph Trident is that it's not just here for review. I'm gonna give it away. That means it could end up in your garage. I'm genuinely excited about this because I think this is a really cool bike. But also, since I'm not just handing it back to a manufacturer, I get to spend some real time with it and make content I normally wouldn't be able to make. Like if I find a shortcoming or something I don't really like about it, I'm gonna fix it. I mean, honestly, I'm already treating it like it's your bike. and I'm gonna make sure it's dialed in and perfect before the keys potentially land in your hand. Now to do this, I have teamed up with Fan of Them. You know, like I'm a fan of them. They're a small veteran-owned business, just like me, and by participating, you're helping me stay independent and make reviews that are honest and unfiltered. Now to enter, you can click on the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen right now. Grab a piece of limited edition, one-of-a-kind merch designed specifically for this rocking little Trident. But once the giveaway is over, that gear is gone. But bonus, if you support the channel on Patreon, you can get extra entries as a thank you for being such a huge part of what we do here. But we are on a limited time frame. To make all of this happen, the giveaway ends on Friday, June 26th at midnight. So don't sleep on this and get your entries right now. All right, so enough of this. Let's take your next bike for a ride.
Ergonomically, the seating position's super natural. It's like kind of where you want to be. It encourages you to scoot forward, so you have to remind yourself to scoot back in it, in itself enough room. But the foot position feels good. So it's a really easy bike to ride. It's light, unintimidating. The power delivery is really nice, and it has enough power delivery that it's an absolute gas to twist the stick and hear it go. It sounds so nice. That's half of the fun. Everything about this bike is just easy to modulate. It's a very satisfying bike to ride. Just like a rockin' little motorcycle.
This Triumph Trident in stock trim made about 81 horsepower and 47 torques, which is enough to be entertaining without turning every ride into an insurance claim. But this one at least has a tune and that pipe. More power, better throttle response, and yeah, that sound, right? Honestly, the pipe is a little bit loud for my taste, and its low mounting position makes me worry about taking this particular one out for a track day. I mean, it looks really pretty, but that Zard carbon fiber looks like it would be the first thing to stripe if I was chasing apexes with too much authority. But despite all of that, this is easily one of the most spectacular sounding bikes in the world when you quick shift. It sounds so good. It inspires you to shift even when you don't really need to, just so you can hear that glorious crackle.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. And we're close, 9,000 feet right now, so that's a good hit on the horsepower, but it still feels very peppy. I think one of my favorite things about the motor characteristic so far is how smooth it comes in off the bottom. Like, it really, when you roll on through small throttle inputs, it's really good. Yeah, good amounts of torque, but it spools up really nice. It really, if you like a parallel twin, if you're looking at a parallel twin, this isn't really sacrificing much along the torque, but how quickly it spools up, like, that's nice. And it sounds good.
But even with the ride-by-wire, it only has 2 riding modes. 2! Road and rain. And on a modern bike, I feel that's a little bit like buying a Swiss Army knife and discovering that it only has tweezers and a corkscrew. I mean, at least it has a quick shifter, which is very good, and frankly, I'd be an idiot to moan about it because it's a very, very good quick shifter. It's one of the best ones I've used in a while. And it works brilliantly at high RPMs and high loads, which is what quickshifters were invented for, but it's also surprisingly good at moderate loads and moderate RPMs. Even the auto blipper down is shockingly good for any bike, not just a bike in this price point. But no sport mode?
I need to add a little preload to the rear shock. It's running wide on corner exit a little bit. So when the rear shock is too soft, it squats when you're on the throttle, which kicks the forks out, right? Makes it more like a chopper, gives it even more trail because the rear end's compressed, which makes it harder for the bike to hold its line.
Triumph has, in a fit of ruthless cost control, fitted the Trident with non-adjustable suspension, which is great news if you're the sort of rider who enjoys the thrill of having no say whatsoever in how your motorcycle behaves. However, I have to be honest, thus far, they seem to have made the right decision. Only when pushed does it reveal that the rear is lacking some compression damping. But depending on your use case, your size, or if you intend to use this thing exclusively to chase canyons, a rear shock upgrade would be a very sensible upgrade. But then there are the actually mounted 2-piston calipers. They do the job, provided you're not trying to pretend this is a corner speed weapon. But to be fair, Triumph did fit braided brake lines, so at least the bike's plumbing is dressed better than its undergarments.
Oh, I just, it trail brakes so beautifully. It really is one of the nicest trail braking bikes. You can come off the brake into the throttle so smooth. Even mid-corner, going back to the brakes mid-corner, it's very stable and predictable. I have so much feel over the last 5% of brake pressure. It's a very rewarding bike. Lots of gravel. Go around that. Oh, sounds good. On these downhill switchbacks, that long trail number is a little bit more effort as you're trail braking in than something with a little bit more aggressive geometry. But it seems like such a great compromise for how you want to ride the bike. It's just a real precise little motorcycle. Like, I can put it exactly where I want at any moment. It's really great. Up the hill. 15-mile-an-hour turn. Yeah, like the switchback, it's just like eager to lean, eager to go. Plenty of pull up the hill. Like, who needs more than this? Yes, this bike rocks. It feels like a playful golden retriever puppy. It just wants to play and romp, right? And you're not worried about it getting angry and biting you. It's just eager to go. And because it's so light and nimble, it's just completely unintimidating and easy. It's such an easy motorcycle to ride. Big fan of this bike. Like, why don't we see these things everywhere?
Before we wrap up, can we just take a moment and admire how good this thing looks? Because it really does look like Triumph sat down and said, right then, let's make a motorcycle that looks expensive, but isn't really, plenty fast, and just slightly rude, and then actually managed to do it. It's compact, sharp, and properly handsome in that very British way, where it doesn't scream for attention even though you kind of want to keep looking at it. And the sound, that 3-cylinder, lovely, raspy bark, a confident growl that says, I can behave if I must, but I'd rather not. Triumph has absolutely nailed that bed. Especially in a world of parallel twins, this triple catches your ear and makes you want to hear what it has to say. So yeah, it looks great, it sounds great, and it rides like a bike that knows exactly what it's doing without becoming boring about it. It's a killer little canyon bike, a brilliant around-town runabout, and the sort of machine that makes every ride feel a bit more entertaining than it has any right to be. It's friendly enough for riders with less experience and capable enough for those who, well, we were riding when you could still buy the 1970s version of this bike. It's not perfect, it's still built to a price point, and I am befuddled that they chose axially mounted brakes. Even budget radial brakes would be so much easier to tune to taste. And no, the suspension is not adjustable, but a rear shock isn't the end of the world, and Andriani makes cartridge kits for the OEM Showa forks if you find that you need them. So far, I'm surprised how well they work, so it's not something that I personally would be in a hurry to fuss with. 2 power modes seems like such an odd place to save some cash. Isn't that like 10 lines of code or something? However, what does impress me is how well sorted so many other things are. I mean, the fit and the finish, I think it looks absolutely brilliant. The fueling, at least on this one, is spot on. The shifting is crisp and precise. The overall handling with 107.3 millimeters of trail is on the conservative side, but it makes this bike really stable, especially in the fast sweepers that we've been on today. But we're not finished with it yet. We're going to be spending more time with the Trident, doing some basic maintenance and putting it through more of its paces, because there's still plenty left to discover. And don't forget, you could win this very bike. It could be yours. So check out the link, scan the QR code for all the details, and thank you to everyone on Patreon and all of our channel members for helping make this video and this giveaway possible. Ride on and ride well.